Hello, I'm back with another video. Nice to see you all. Look at all my little plant friends. They keep me company during the day while I'm alone at work. Okay, so I wanted to come on here again and explain a little bit about the making / creating / mending project. Okay, I needed to come up with something for you to do at home, for you to get the part of the curriculum that is our hands-on, what would have been our sewing. Now we need to kind of do something else to make it work, right? But we still do have to do something. So I know that this might be a little bit tricky for you to come up with ideas. You might think you have nothing at home that you can do, but there are definitely things you can do. So I'm going to go over this and I'm going to show you a couple examples. I just gathered them from around my house. Okay, so we are going to do 3 of these over the next while. You don't have to do them this week. You can do them over the next little while, spread them out a little bit. And this should be kind of fun, right? Because you're getting a chance to make, to be creative, to use your hands, all those things that we like to do when we are at school. That's the reason we took this class, right? So this is going to count as a bigger project, technically 3 projects, but you don't need to get it done right away. You can take your time on this, and I know it might be hard to get them all done in the first place because you're working with limited resources, right? So let me just read through this once again, and then I'll show you my examples. So since this is a primarily hands-on course, I would like you to make, create, or mend something at home. This will count as our sewing or technical and applied skills projects. You should complete 3 projects at home. You will need to look around at home or ask family members for articles of clothing that need mending. If you don't have any mending to do, consider an update to a piece of clothing you already have. Google ideas for inspiration. Okay, there's tons of ideas on Google. If you type like DIY t-shirt or just upcycling clothes or repurposing clothes, tons of ideas. You can also check out Pinterest. I don't know if any of you use Pinterest. I use it a lot. But if you don't use it, you can check it out. Okay? You're working with what you have at home. This might be a lot of different things or very little. Okay? Get creative with what you can do. So look for scraps of fabric or old clothes needing an update. You can fix a piece of clothing or create something new. You can knit, crochet, embroider, or create art from fabric. You'll need to look up ideas online or Google or Pinterest for inspiration, but there is a hands-on component of learning from home. It's important that you find something to make or do. If you absolutely cannot think of anything, please let me know. I will come up with something with you. We'll figure something out. I have lots of ideas in my head, okay? But I know you all have great imaginations, and I'm sure you'll be able to think of something, okay? Some examples I've written here are missing or loose buttons. So if you see a button is coming loose on your jacket or shirt or pants or on family members' items of clothing, you can fix that. Most of the time, even if you don't think that you have this, most of the time people have a needle and thread somewhere in their house. Okay, so ask your family members, say, do we have needle and thread? Usually you do, okay? Usually you'll have some sort of mending kit. If not, then maybe try and find another project to do. If you have holes or rips in clothes or socks, okay, so sometimes well, my socks are fine, but sometimes you'll get like a hole in your toe. You can sew that and fix it, and that will count as a project. Pretty cool, hey? So you can do that if you see that instead of just throwing them out, because why throw out perfectly good socks that just have a little hole in them? You could totally fix that. Okay, articles of clothing that need to be hemmed or shortened, you could do that. Now I know most people don't have sewing machines at home. So if you're lucky enough that you do have a sewing machine at home, utilize that. They're pretty universal in how you set them up. They might look a little different, but they're all pretty similar in how you set them up. You could just ask a family member for help. But anything you use a sewing machine for, you can usually also just use needle and thread for. It just takes a little bit longer. Okay, and general alterations, so changing length, size, fit, cutting and tying to create something new, fabric art, etc. So tons of different things you can do, okay? And I'm gonna get to the example soon, but I wanna read through this first. Okay, please take photos of the items that you will be mending, repairing, altering, creating, making, before and after, as well as in progress photos of what you're doing. I want to see what you're doing, okay? So take before picture, middle picture, after picture, because I want to see what you're doing. You'll be marked on your sewing techniques, or if you're not sewing, your creation, your hands-on techniques, as well as your reflection on the project. For each article of clothing you mend, create, make, you will self-reflect on what it was, how you did it, what skills you learned, and how you could use these skills in other projects. Okay, then I included some pictures here. They may be hard to see. These are just examples, okay? So there's like a knitting, a crochet, fixing a rip in pants, fixing a hole in an armpit. There's like a tie-dye one here. There's like a cutting and tying into a cool shirt. And there's this one where they cut out the little front part of the shirt to make that cool like choker collar shirt. Okay, and I'll show you my examples soon, but first I want to go over the reflection part. So you'll reflect individually on each of these, okay? So what items are you mending or making? What have you done to mend or make your article of clothing? List the steps in detail. You're gonna do this for all 3 projects. I wanna know what you did and how you did it. And then how did you feel you did at this? Does it look good? Is it functional? Okay, and then I've put a really basic rubric to make it as easy as possible for you. So each category is out of 3. So use creativity in coming up with the project. The final product looks professionally done, took your time, made sure to do it properly, didn't rush. You've got all the time in the world because you're at home, so you don't need to rush. Completed the reflection questions and included the photos before and after. Okay, so now let me show you some of my examples here. These are just things I ran around my house 2 seconds ago trying to find. Okay, so here is a shirt that I tie-dyed years ago for a birthday party. You may not have a tie-dye kit at home, but I do have a tutorial for that bleach tie-dye. It's on my Instagram in the highlights, so if you follow my Instagram at Miss Oaks Home Ec, you can find that, or there's a million videos on YouTube of how to bleach tie-dye. It's super easy, it's really fun, but you have to get permission from your family before you do it because using bleach can be a little bit dangerous. So make sure that you're allowed to do it and maybe you have some adult supervision as well. Okay, here's just a random piece of fabric that I found in my house. I've been doing quite a bit of sewing while I've been home. I've been making masks for friends and family, so I have some random fabric kicking around. Maybe you have random strips of fabric and you can think of something to do with them, okay? Get creative. If you can't sew, maybe you can cut it apart, create some sort of art with it, right? Cut it out, glue it onto paper somehow in some sort of like artistic craft. You're gonna have to do some research on this. You have to really use your imaginations, okay? But I know you'll be able to think of something, okay? I don't know if anyone has these at home, these like loom knitters. Maybe you have a younger sibling who has one. You can borrow it. If you have some yarn and the stick, you can make a toque. This is what I usually use these to make toques or hat, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I've got an in-progress embroidery going on here. So this is just a small little canvas that you would paint on, but I find that they work really well. If you took grade 9 clothing last year, maybe you did this project as well. But you can just use any scrap of fabric. So you could use this fabric here, and if you have a needle and thread, you can make an embroidery design. Just use really basic stitches and make a design, maybe a picture or a saying or words. That would be pretty cool. Okay, also, if you have these things at home, I've been doing quite a bit of crocheting as well. I'm making a little dishcloth right now. But these are all things that I have at home, but that's because obviously I teach clothing, so this is something I'm interested in. So I have these things at home. I know you might not have these things at home, but I really am going to encourage you to take a look around, ask your family members, and see what you can find. If you absolutely cannot think of anything, I will help you come up with something, okay? But you have to reach out to me, you have to email me, message me on the Instagram, whatever, find a way to connect with me in the Google Classrooms, and we will find a project for you to do, okay? This is supposed to be fun. We need to keep using our hands. That's really helpful for us. It's really good to keep yourself busy, right? Hopefully that answered questions. Okay, goodbye.